on a future flight, hoping to open up space for all.
As a kid myself, when I saw the moon landing, I was, making rockets out of cardboard boxes, and I was, making them big enough so I could get into my rocket, and dreamt of building a rocket to go to space one day. And yeah, that's what we done.
Yeah. Virgin Galactic has 2 test flights left this year. They intend to start flying customers to space next year.
This is ABC News.
The U.S. dollar is plummeting. Protect your savings against inflation with precious metals. I'm Dinesh D'Souza for Birch Gold Group. Birch Gold Group is who I trust to help you protect your IRA or 401k with gold and silver. With thousands of satisfied customers, an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. Get a free information kit by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. Again, text PROTECT to 989898 today.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
This is ONN. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. An elderly woman was killed in a house explosion over the weekend. It happened near Washington Courthouse, about 40 miles southwest of Columbus. Here's ONN's Eric Brown.
The Fayette County Sheriff's Office said the blast in New Holland was reported around 7:30 Saturday morning. 70-year-old Patricia Miller was killed in the explosion while her 71-year-old husband Ted was airlifted to a Columbus hospital. He was last listed in critical condition and no other injuries were reported. Various agencies, including the State Fire Marshal's office, are investigating the cause of the explosion. Eric Brown, ONN News.
Authorities say they're seeking a suspect in a shooting that killed a man and wounded 3 other people, 2 of them kids, in west central Ohio. Here's ONN's Daniel Barnett.
Springfield police said officers were dispatched to the Speedway station at around 1:30 p.m. Saturday and found the man, the woman, and a juvenile male. They also later found a juvenile female victim. Police told reporters at the scene the gunfire happened both inside and outside the convenience store at the station. The man died at a nearby hospital. Captain Brad Moose said in a statement investigators believe it was a domestic violence situation and a suspect is being sought. Daniel Barnett, ONN News.
A man in Canton was shot and killed Saturday morning. He was found unconscious on the porch of a home near downtown and died soon after. Police are searching for a suspect. For more state news, go to ONNradio.com. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly, here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Protecting you isn't just our job, it's our passion. If 2020 has proven anything, it's that anything can happen. You need to have the right partner to guide you through insurance pitfalls to make sure your business is adequately covered. From your property and equipment to your employees and your family, Glessner Wharton Andrews Insurance has the drive and the ability to keep you protected.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Monday. Under a mix of clouds and sunshine, of isolated thunderstorm is possible. Daytime high of 84. Overnight low of 71 under partly to mostly cloudy skies. Clouds and intervals of sunshine again for your Tuesday, with temperatures in the mid-80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
I'm not a Monday guy.
I'm not crazy about them either. I also don't like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays.
Are you ready to go?
Warning you, I'm seriously stressed out here.
You always drink like this so early in the morning?
Isn't it a bit early in the day for the bottle? Even for you?
Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
Make the radio call.
It's time to get up.
It's time to hear that pop.
State self-destruct in 5 seconds.
We are go for launch.
Informing and entertaining the Valley for over 25 years. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe in the 100 Days of Summer.
Well, in the immortal words of Gayle King, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 7:09 on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's a rainy morning outside. We're going to see some scattered rain showers throughout the day today, and indeed probably throughout the week this week. 71 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. It's cloudy there. 71 cloudy here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. 71 and cloudy at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. I did a little just home stuff over the weekend. Biffy, did you think really exciting, anything big in your life for the weekend?
Watched the niece and nephew on Friday night, and then half the day Saturday and Sunday. Spent some time working on the house, and that was it.
It was a swim day on Saturday, so Teddy and his cousin Ariana were here, and we all got in the pool. Eventually managed to get the older folks in. Well, I got in right away with the kids, because I'm like one of the kids. Granddad, you're coming in with us? Of course I'm cutting in the pool. So it was a pool day. Yesterday was a real kind of quiet day. But boy, Biffy, I'll tell you what, there are still people who post on social media, and yes, I know, Biff, you are always smart enough to tell me, and the audience tells me, and I get texts telling me, and Bob Westfall tells me, stop looking at the comments on social media, right? But, even this weekend, I was reading people who were saying things like, there's just nothing to do in Wheeling. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. This weekend, and I wondered how it would go, because there were two big events in Wheeling, as well as a couple others around the area. Two big events in Wheeling, and I thought, well, will one take away from the other? Biff, they were both packed. The Circus Saints and Sinners had their party on the plaza, cleverly enough, on the plaza, with music and food and beverages, and just absolutely packed into the plaza. Man, it looked like the old days up there. And then just a handful of streets down, middle of town, Wheeling Heritage Port had the first ever Cops, Pops, and community event. We kind of talked about that on Friday with Barry Allen from Ziegenfelders and with Chief Schwartzfeger and Ron Scott from the YWCA and so on. And that was a big event. And it was kind of neat, I think, because the party on the plaza, maybe a little bit more adult-oriented event, and then the Cops, Pops, and community, more of a family-oriented event. But both were just really well attended. I mean, downtown Wheeling was just, it was like the old days, Biffy, and it's just, and it didn't just stay in Wheeling. I saw a piece, I did not get a chance to get out there, but I saw a piece from the Big Seven that said the second Saturday in St. Clairsville, that's the name of it, the second Saturday in St. Clairsville, filled the streets of St. Clairsville as well. 17 vendors were there selling things, food, and all that kind of good stuff. St. Clairsville was packed. And then if you didn't get enough last weekend, the Blame My Roots Festival is back in the Ohio Valley in Belmont County this week. I don't like to call it the replacement for Jamboree in the Hills. I'm sure they don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. But when Jamboree in the Hills went away, the organizers of what we now know as Blame My Roots said, well, we got to keep this country music concept going. So they created the Blame My Roots Festival, and it's set for this weekend in Belmont County. So, Biffy, for those people who are telling us there's nothing to do in Wheeling, I don't know what to do.
This was always one of my favorite weeks of the year because, number one, you knew it was back in the day, it was the weekend of Jamboree.
Right.
It was also for sports fans, and especially golf fans, It was the they call it the Open now, but we refer to it as the British Open. So it would be this weekend as well. And you knew once the British Open or the Open and Jamboree in the Hills back in the day when it was here, you knew this was going to start really the high point of the festival season, because you know the following weekend would be the Italian festival. You knew that was coming up. You knew the Blues Fest was coming up in August, and you knew in September you were going to have the Regatta and the Stern Wheel Festival. And the only downfall, and no offense to the Stern Wheel Festival, but you knew that was the last major festival of the season.
Right. And then it's football time.
Yeah, I mean, we're 12 days away from the All-Star game.
So, this has always been a big, and I'm really excited that the Dutton family came out and put the Blame My Roots together. Again, it's not really a replacement for, it's not quite the same as Jambo, but it's something that still celebrates the heritage of the country music feel around here and holds that place. But anyway, it's just people who say there's nothing to do. Now, I mean, you don't have to go out and go to it. Maybe you didn't go to Party on the Plaza. Maybe you didn't go to Cops, Pops, and Community. Maybe you didn't go to Second Saturday in St. Clairsville. Maybe you're not going to go to Blame My Roots. That's okay. But don't say there's nothing to do. Say there's nothing I choose to do. I'm okay with that, Again, if you look just at Wheeling in particular on Saturday, if you were family-oriented, want to bring kids down, they had the bounce house. It was just a sort of a fun family kind of atmosphere at Cops, Pops, and Community. And then if you were, want to go have a couple of adult beverages and listen to some music and, just have more of an adult-oriented feel, Party on the Plaza. So and yet still this weekend, I mean, just this weekend again, I came across those online comments. Well, I don't know, Wheeling's, it's just dead. It's just dead. There's nothing to do in Wheeling anymore. And it's not just Wheeling. It's that St. Clairsville had their second Saturday. Moundsville's been picking up steam with a lot of things happening down there, which actually I want to get a hold of someone from Moundsville and take some time to talk about some of the things happening down there. So it's just, that's all I just wanted to say. Stop telling me there's nothing to do. Tell me you don't want to go out. I'm okay with that because I'm that way too. But don't tell me there's nothing to do. 7:16 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Some of the things coming up this morning I want to talk about. The big opioid trial. Every time I say that, I can't quite get it out right. The big opioid trial. The big opioid trial. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The big opioid trial in Huntington begins to hear how the defense is going to respond to many weeks now of prosecution witnesses against the drug companies. Emily Allen coming in from Mountain State Spotlight. Pardon me. Excuse me. To bring us up to speed on that. I have got more thoughts on Wheeling's crackdown on personal fireworks displays. And this comes from what I saw and what I personally heard this weekend in my neighborhood. And I got into a little dust up with Dave Palmer and Chad Thalman on the vice mayor on my Facebook page. And I want to share with you some of that. I'm not trying to be a troublemaker on this fireworks thing, but I still have a lot of questions, and I want to get into that. Wheeling's Mountainwood Overlook is a blazing maze of form and colors. People use it to express themselves. Sometimes it is vulgarly. There's a lot of explicit words they paint up there. But the question is it art or is it destruction of property? We'll talk about that. Billionaire businessman Richard Branson's suborbital ride into space was this weekend. We'll look at that. CPAC attendees are being fed pretty goofy conspiracy theories about Trump's reinstatement. Man, I can't believe people are buying that. Plus our daily political insights from ABC News. All of that is coming up a little bit later on this morning. But first,
top of the morning to you. These are the big stories making news and conversation today on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
The story was sort of running around a little bit on Friday, and I purposely didn't do much with it. It was sort of a Twitter story, and it had to do with a West Virginia delegate who had posted some stuff on his TikTok account. Now, I don't have a TikTok account, but I saw this stuff circulating social media, mainly on Twitter, on Friday. We did not get into it. It's really a little touchy subject to talk about. But now the governor's gotten involved and the Speaker of the House has gotten involved. And so we're going to get involved. And to help me talk about this story gently and carefully is West Virginia Metro News State House correspondent Brad McElhenney. Good morning, Brad.
Oh, man. Good morning, Howard. Good morning.
So are you on TikTok? Do you have a TikTok account? I don't even know where to find TikTok.
No, so my kids are on it. They're 18 and 15, and so if there's anything worth seeing that I would enjoy, they will draw it to my attention. And luckily, this one, they did not say a word about it, which makes me happy. And despite, now 4 days of running coverage, counting the weekend, I have managed to not mention it to them. So no TikTok for me.
All right, this is Delegate Joe Jeffries. He's a Republican from Putnam County. Among other things, you may remember he sponsored a bill forbidding the teaching of sexuality in public schools. But I guess he felt he could be the teacher. I mean, that's kind of like what this video was, right?
Yeah. So he has his own TikTok account. It's sort of cast as politics and humor. And there are a variety of videos that are pretty edgy. And I don't know how this one got started. I don't know how it got rolling. Somebody must have been perusing his site and noticed, but maybe Thursday evening, you are correct, TikTok or Twitter's a different form of social media, began sort of spreading it and talking about it. West Virginia Twitter, observing that this is not the kind of statesman-like language that you often hear from our political figures. And, if I can try to describe it. Get the hook here if you need, but it begins with a woman, I don't know who, asking, how do you think certain acts should take place between a man and a woman? And to try to get clinical, the discussion is of oral sex provided to a woman.
Correct.
And so then Delegate Joe Jeffries, and I need to do a service here to Delegate Dean Jeffries, who is a very fine gentleman, and to Senator Glenn Jeffries, another fine guy who would never do this kind of thing. They are different people. This is Joe Jeffries. But he leaps in on his video and does sort of a Dr. Ruth. But it's a pretty crass Dr. Ruth. And, when I was writing the story on Friday, I was like, how can I... We wound up getting a transcript down low in Friday's story, but early up, I was like, how? I can't even find a piece of what he has said to try to pull a little bit of a quote out. All I could come up with, so that it just drives you wild, is as clean as I could get. And I've been thinking about this all weekend. It's certainly crass. It is not statesmanlike. I think Delegate Joe Jeffries' position in life is one thing that you take into account here. The other is the format, because TikTok is meant to have sort of viral videos. I mean, he has made this video now private, but it's meant to be just out there for people to see. And this is what I would typically consider to be a private act that he is describing here.
Well, yeah. One would hope so.
I don't think he's being mean-spirited here, and that's one thing about it, but it's just not what I'm accustomed to seeing from our political figures, and so I think that's why it's really touched a nerve as a story.
Again, I didn't see the video. He has since he went up and became viral on Twitter. He's pulled it. Well, I won't say pulled it down. He's made his account private, so you can't see it. So I haven't seen it. For those who have any interest, if you want to backtrack to Friday's story on Metro News, you guys did do a what's the word I'm looking for? Help me on it. Transcript, I guess.
Yeah.
Low in your story, so if you have to scroll down. If somebody hasn't gotten the sense yet of what we're talking about, but he's unbelievably descriptive Pardon me. Hey, Biff, can you turn my mic off for a second? There, I think I'm better now. Sorry about that, Brad.
You're so embarrassed. You just like, I need a break.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was just, I mean, it's about as crass as you can be without literally being pornographic, right? Just unbelievable. So, the story got a lot of play on Twitter. A lot of just citizens, Twitterites, were suggesting that some sort of punishment is deserving for him. And now official political dumb has gotten into it as well. The Speaker of the House and the governor both weighed in, right?
Yeah, the House Speaker, Roger Hanshaw, first of all says, there's only so much he can do. He can't really single-handedly remove a delegate from the legislature. I mean, these are, and there will be a question about whether that's appropriate. The citizens of Delegate Joe Jeffries' district sent him there, but Speaker Hanshaw has removed Jeffries from most of his committees, all except for the Government Organization Committee. And I don't know why the distinction, why remove him from, I think, 3 and keep him on the 1. I'm not sure. But also, Jeffries was vice chairman of some minor committee, the vice chairman, and that vice chairmanship has been removed. So that happened late Friday, but probably more significant than that was the way Speaker Hanshaw talked about it, which was, I believe Joe Jeffries is an embarrassment, not just to the House of Delegates, but to the entire state. He has shown us more than once that he does not respect the office he was elected to serve. And then Hanshaw essentially asks, I took it that he is asking, strongly suggesting that the citizens of District 22 not send Joe Jeffries back. Hanshaw says, I am but one member among 100, and his constituents, Jeffries' constituents, will have the opportunity at the ballot box in 2022 to decide whether he represents them as they wish. And I think what's happening here is not just the most recent incident, but Jeffries has been beclowning the legislature, particularly over the last year. And one way he did that was lawmakers were supposed to wear masks, and some didn't. But during floor sessions and committee meetings, the idea was they were protecting each other and protecting, the few lobbyists and staff, particularly staff, I think. I mean, you got to be there. Why right. should some delegates take a chance on making you sick? So, but Jeffries wore this sort of, you've probably seen pictures by now, like a fishnet mask. I mean, totally permeable. And it was just meant to, make light of the situation.
It was mocking the mask regulation.
It was mocking the masks. And then the other thing that I think is strongly at play here was, if you'll recall, there was a bill that the House really pushed to limit the governor's emergency powers, and the Senate was clearly not as interested. And it went to conference committee. The House felt so strongly that delegates stood in the hallway. I've never seen that, but they stood and showed support for the House of Delegates position, and it ended in a stalemate between the House and the Senate, and nothing came of it, and that meant the bill was dead. Well, when senators and delegates came out of conference committee, Delegate Joe Jeffries, addressed them in a crass manner, according to several accounts. And this is another thing I can't really describe specifically on radio, but he asked the 3 members of the Senate conferees, the Senate conferees, if they had enjoyed the governor, if they enjoyed the particular attributes of the governor, meaning that they had rolled over for him. And it was stated in a way that
sometimes we say, sometimes we say, did you kiss his hiney? He was implying that the governor was turned around on that.
Yeah, exactly. If you, the listeners, can understand, if you get the drift. I think the governor is right for criticism. I don't mind fair criticism of him at all. But, boy, I mean, it is a position that merits respect and not being talked about that way. And so shortly thereafter, the governor got wind of it. This has been weeks now. I mean, it was the end of the legislative session, which was late April, I guess. I've lost
months
track.
ago.
But, shortly after that, he made reference to it, the governor did, in one of his briefings, and called on Speaker Hanshaw to exert some political force to get Joe Jeffries to apologize. Well, the session ended, and that was that. I mean, nothing ever came of it until now, but we're circling back. And so those three things, the TikTok video, the mesh mask, and the comments in the hallway of the Capitol about the governor, the kind of comments you just never hear, are all coming around. And that leads me to the governor himself, and you made reference to this. Governor Justice put out a statement on Saturday afternoon. I mean, you don't really see that kind of statement on a Saturday afternoon unless someone has died or the flags are being lowered or whatever. But he came out with a statement saying that he thinks Joe Jeffries ought to resign, ought to put his career representing the people of Putnam and Lincoln counties behind him. No response at all that I've heard from Joe Jeffries. Hoppy emailed him Friday. The House communications staff called him to see if he wanted to make a comment or apologize. I sent him a Twitter, not a message. I just tweeted at him to say, you wanna say anything? And so far, not a word. And given where he falls in the political spectrum, I mean, if you look at those bills, they are culture war stuff. I mean, pretty symbolic. He is literally a backbencher. And I don't know that he expects to get anything done in the legislature. A bill essentially outlawing sex education in schools was one that he sponsored, and it was kind of ironic here. Trying to establish "Don't Tread on Me" license plates. Another trying to do away with the mask ban. Just culture war stuff. So I have wondered, as the political pressure from what I would call the establishment has been brought to bear on him, does he care or does he actually welcome it? I think it might be the latter.
Well, I think he may welcome it. I don't know him at all. I have no sense of it, nor of his constituents. But my sense might be that he likes the publicity of it, feels like he's, being the kind of guy he wants to be. But I don't know how, I mean, even the Putnam County Republican Party Executive Committee condemned what he said. I don't know how it will play out come next election time. Of course, Brad, the problem with that is our memories are awfully short. If the election were held today, as they say, he may face a huge amount of backlash come election time. Who knows? It may fade away. One of the things that concerns me real quick, Brad, about this TikTok is, why does this, I don't know how old he is, but TikTok is really as you mentioned earlier with your own kids, it's really a social media of the very young. I saw some data over the weekend. About a third of TikTok users are in the 10 to 19-year-old age range. I mean, this is a very youthful-oriented TikTok. What is a guy, assuming, theoretically, an adult and with a political position, what is he even doing on TikTok or posting on TikTok? I mean, it doesn't even seem to be appropriate just age-wise.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I mean, so TikTok can have, enjoyable, viral, family-oriented videos. If you remember the video everybody got such a kick out of with the guy on his, I guess it was a skateboard, with his cranberry juice and his Fleetwood Mac, that came from TikTok. And that was fine. People really gave us some joy. But this doesn't. And I wonder if, maybe he was thinking, well, the age group you described is not voters. So maybe he thought, well, nobody will ever see this if I just tuck it away over here. But I don't know why you do it in the first place. I mean,
yeah, but that makes it almost worse because you wonder, then who did he think was going to see it and why did he post it? I mean, it's just, again, I don't necessarily encourage, you can't see the video. I don't encourage listeners to go read what he said, but if you haven't, to the listeners, if you have not, actually seen the video or seen the transcript at least, it's hard to explain how offensive this, I mean, I think it's this earlier, Brad, short of actual pornography, this is about as crass as you can possibly get.
It describes, I've puzzled over it all weekend. The Gazette described it as objectifying women. In the way he describes it, he's sort of mansplaining, honestly. But the woman in the scenario is the actor is the one doing things in what he describes. So I don't know. I puzzle over the language of it and the way he comes across is I think across the line, sure, but I guess I would say I don't necessarily find it to be mean-spirited. It's just inappropriate for the platform and for the position of public trust that he is in. The TikTok thing, I heard from someone who knows him. Again, I haven't talked to him himself, but that he just did it, thought it was lighthearted, and he was bored. If I'm bored, I throw a ball to the dog or go wash the car or turn on Netflix or whatever. This is not what I do, but he decided. On the repercussions, I think there are potentially a couple things. I don't know how much it costs to run for House of Delegates from that district. Probably not that much. I mean, you're not advertising on television. But I do think that some people who have contributed to his campaigns of the past, if he runs again, are less likely to in the future. And I think that there may be some more appropriate candidate out there who thinks, well, the voters of my community deserve better than this. And he may get stronger competition than he has in the past. So I think those are a couple of ways where even if he doesn't immediately say, all right, Governor Justice told me to go home, I guess I'll do it, he may pay political consequences down the line.
Real quick, is this a one-day story or a 2 or 3 day story? Is this basically done? I'm not sure what other kinds of, we've got the governor condemning him, we've got his party condemning him, we've got Hanshaw dealing with it. My guess is that this will go out of our consciousness here in a day or so. Is that the way you would look at it?
I think so. The only thing that gives me pause is we are here in the middle of July, where it's like, nationally, this is the time of year where you see like
nothing else,
shark fight stories and stuff. Well, this is all we got. But I don't know what.
Well, in this story, we hope nobody's biting.
Well, yeah, that's true. Unless other shoes drop, like if he really would resign, that would certainly be a story.
Right.
If this were to draw out some other information about him, and I don't know what that would be, but if somebody were to say, all right, I know something that isn't out there yet, then that's possible. But I think otherwise, what more do you say?
Exactly. All right, Brad, I appreciate it this morning. Thanks a lot. Again, I didn't even know whether to deal with this. It became a bigger story than I thought it might, and I felt like we had to at least take some time to talk about it. Gently and carefully, and you did a good job with that. dancing around it. Appreciate it, Brad. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Howard.
All right, talk to you soon. Brad McElhenney, statewide correspondent for Metro News. Bippy, did you see the video, or did you at least read the transcript that Metro News put up?
No, I didn't read anything. I just, know.
It's so gross.
Yeah, I saw the story on social media, and that was enough for me.
Yeah, it is. By the time I thought about looking at it for research purposes only, he had taken it down. But Metro News, and I think properly, did an abbreviated transcript of some of what he had to say, and oh God, it's as disgusting as you can get. All right, coming up, CPAC, conspiracies, and the billionaire spaceman. I got those stories up, but first we'll talk with Zach after we check some news and sports on the Watchdog Morning Show here on WKKX and WVLY.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your look.
I will obviously do another break, Biffy. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, that's up to you. You call the shots on that, but I can certainly easily take another break. All right, my plan is to use the Branson cut from Wise Brothers, and political insights in this half hour after Zach.
Through income tax. Commission President Jerry Etchman says at the time they were afraid things wouldn't work out and people might have to be laid off. But now as they craft the budget for the coming year, they are greatly relieved. It's a sight you can only catch once a year. 40 antique boats take a spin on the water in New Martinsville, just like they once did several decades ago. They call it the New Martinsville Vintage Regatta. The main regatta started back in the late 1930s, and those behind the event only hope this is just the beginning of bringing it back. Many have traveled far and wide to be a part of it, all here to bring back a sense of nostalgia. If you missed this year's event, organizers plan to bring it back in 2022. That was a look at your headlines. Have a great day and a great rest of your week, everyone.
In New York, the Pirates rallied to beat the Mets 6-5, down 5-0. The Pirates scored 2 runs in the 5th, 6th, and 9th innings for the victory and a split in the 4-game series. It's the All-Star break. These two teams, believe it or not, will meet again at PNC Park Friday night, Game 1 of a 3-game series. With the number 1 pick overall in the MLB draft, the Pirates selected Louisville catcher Henry Davis. NBA Finals, Game 3 played in Milwaukee. The Bucks beat up on the Phoenix Suns 120-100, but the Suns still lead that best-of-7, 2-1. PGA Tour, who's smiling all the way to the bank? Lucas Glover. He'll take home $1 million for capturing the John Deere Classic. And a classic soccer note, Italy beat England 3-2 on penalty kicks to capture the European Championship, the first for Italy since 1968. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
This is Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
This past year was incredibly hard on teachers, education support professionals, and students alike. But instead of focusing on tedious academic drills to make up for lost ground, everyone needs to reset and focus on the social and emotional growth opportunities that come with a normal summer break. Get out and enjoy a true summer of fun.
Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association. This is a big deal. Now, at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as August 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there is one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at DoanFord.com.
I'm not buying till I check Doan Ford.
Hi, Toppy Kirchville. Join me weekdays at 10 o'clock for Talkline. We'll talk about the big stories affecting us in West Virginia, top political figures, sports personalities, sometimes just plain folks offering their opinions on what's happening today. 10 till noon, right after the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Our live video feed. Don't forget we're on my Facebook page, on the Watchdogs Facebook page. And if you're watching us live on Facebook, be sure to share us, to like us, and then share us. Share it to your news feed, your timeline, whatever, so more people have a chance to watch the program on our video feed. You can also catch archives of the entire video feed at YouTube, our YouTube channel, and you can watch it on our network, on our website, watchdognetwork.com. So check things out. Let's bring in Zach Petty from the Big 7, WTRF TV. Zach, it's probably a fairly quick forecast, and we can just rinse and repeat for much of the week, right?
It really seems that way, Howard. We're just not... we're feeling a lot more like summer. At least it'll be comfortable, as Brother Biff and I were just chatting. If we didn't have to deal with the mugginess and the oppressively muggy conditions that are sticking around, these temperatures would be okay. Yeah, they're a little warm for my liking, but it's nothing too hot. Mid to low 80s for most of the work week, except by the time we head into Friday, with chances for rain every single day, except for Thursday, which, again, I kind of planned out just in time for Brother Biff's golf game, but still not a terrible work week, we'll call it. There will be some dry periods throughout the day today, tomorrow, but the only real soaker washout of a day looks to be Wednesday.
Well, a little bit of rain, at least scattered showers around the valley this morning, right?
Yep, scattered showers. So again, that's going to be the nature of the beast today, is that yes, there is the potential. All the ingredients are there. Pinpointing exactly when and where, yes, I have an idea. But in terms of exactly where they could fire up, that's still all the weather models that you look at. They all have different timings and different areas. And the one that I was able to show on air today was showing most of the rain well to the northwest of the immediate Panhandle in southeastern Ohio. Looks like it was better off into Coshocton and Tuscarawas County, but just some scattered showers possible early on this morning, and then once again later on this afternoon. There is a definite potential for a few severe thunderstorms that, again, could fire up. Most of the region could stay dry. The other could say, hey, I'm tired of this rain, just because it's been raining most of the afternoon. So it's kind of going to be one of those days. Not everyone will see rain, but those who do will see a good punch.
And as you point out, really the week, with the exception of Thursday, which looks like it'll be dry and maybe sunny, hopefully, most of the week is just going to be kind of a gloomy, possibly rainy week, pretty much all week long, yeah?
Yeah, that is correct. Even extending on into Tuesday, Howard. Most of the morning should stay dry, but looks like the dominant feature for most of this week will be cloudy skies with active afternoons, with potential pop-up showers and storms. Kind of your typical what you see in summertime, with us getting into the dog days of summer, as they say. With I'll put the air quotes on that, since I think there has been some sort of true dates that the dog days are officially from here to here. I consider any time past the 4th of July and the dog days of summer. That's just my interpretation of it, but to each their own. So we're just going to be dealing with that, but the only chance that looks to be a real washout, a decent soaking rain, looks to be Wednesday, Howard. But everything else, there will be periods of dryness today and tomorrow. Most of the day on Thursday should be dry. Didn't throw any pop values on that, with hopefully seeing a little bit more sunshine, as a weak high pressure could build in for Thursday.
All right. Currently, it looks like 71, I think, at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. It's 70. Let me check. 71, yep, here at my home studios in Elm Grove as well. And it's just kind of cloudy outside right now. So kind of the way we'll live with the day and live with the week. I do highly recommend, this is a week where having the Storm Tracker app on your phone might be good. I like to keep an eye on the hour by hour that you guys have on there further down on the Storm Tracker app, because it kind of gives you a little sense of, well, this hour is going to be sunny, but we might have some rain at 5 o'clock or what have you. I at least use that to help me guide my planning of the day. So people should download Storm Tracker 7 and keep it on their phones or their tablets or wherever they want to keep it.
Definitely a good idea to do so. I say it every morning a couple of times, but I agree with you, Howard. Days like today and for most of this work week, if you don't have it, turn those notifications on so that way you know, hey, if lightning's coming into the area or we have the chances for rain. Definitely is a good one to do. So since It'll vary in terms of when and where you see the rain showers, so you can just allow your location to be shared, and you get the customized forecast at your fingertips. What more can you ask for nowadays?
I like the sound of that. All right, Zach, I appreciate it. Not a lot of stuff we can talk about because it's just kind of a here it is and here it's going to go kind of day and kind of week.
Yeah.
So, all right. Appreciate your time this morning. We'll do it again tomorrow, and we'll probably just do it again tomorrow. The same kind of forecast.
Unless you find anything fun any fun food topics or any fun surveys, yeah, kind of so similar. Rinse and repeat for tomorrow even, but we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Zach. Have a good day. Zach Petty from the Big 7, WTRF TV, 7:50, 10 before the hour here. We are the Watchdog Morning Show. Coming up after 8 o'clock, Emily Allen is with the Mountain State Spotlight online newspaper. I really like the Mountain State Spotlight. They do a lot of really good, I don't want to call it investigative journalism. They do that, but a lot of good depth reporting, and I really appreciate that. And they've been covering, they're one of the few people who have been covering on a daily basis the opioid trial down in Huntington and Cabell County. The defense, or the prosecution, has made some pretty strong allegations against the drug companies in the last number of weeks. And then the defense is about to begin. The defense for the drug companies is about to begin. Emily is part of the team that's covering that, and she's going to join us to just basically bring us up to speed on where the trial has been and what's happening now as we begin another phase of it and where it is likely to go. So that's coming up after the 8 o'clock news break. And then also in the next hour, I want to talk about the fireworks in Wheeling again. And I kind of irritated Dave Palmer, I'm sorry, Dave, over the weekend on social media. And Chad Dahlman, the vice mayor, kind of, jabbed me as well. But, boy, there were boomers in this neighborhood over the weekend. And what I heard on the scanner bothered me. And I'll share all of that with you coming up next hour as well. 9 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. So yesterday, did you watch any of the flight of Richard Branson yesterday, Biff?
No.
I didn't get a chance to see it. I was driving to Barnesville, where I was preaching yesterday. And I was listening to it on CNN in the car. Richard Branson, the billionaire businessman, made his first space flight yesterday. He and a 5-man crew went 53 miles above the Earth. There's some argument about, is it technically space or is it the edge of space? And I don't know. Here's what I know, pretty high up there. They achieved weightlessness for about 3 to 4 minutes. The whole thing was live videoed from inside the capsule. It wasn't really a capsule. It's really more of like a little airplane. It's a very different kind of mechanism than what we're used to for those of us who grew up in the space age in the 60s. But a whole different kind of approach to things. He is 71 years old. Second oldest man in space. Now you might ask, who's the number one? Who's the oldest man in space? John Glenn, one of the original astronauts, of course, went up in 1998 when he was 77. So that's his second time around. So John Glenn at 77, the oldest man to go in space. 71, Branson is the second oldest man in space. And, I was listening to some of the coverage of this, and some of the reporters, the science guys, were going, well, this is exciting, but it's not that big a deal. Somebody called it a gold-plated parachute. Said you're going up and you're coming back down. You're not orbiting or anything. But Branson himself certainly said he was excited about what he did, and it was kind of a lifelong dream for him.
3, 2, 1. Release, release, release. Clean release. Ignition. And 60 seconds, and that is a full duration burn, folks. We are headed to space. And the passengers in the back have been cleared to unstrap. We reached apogee 282,000 feet.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream, looking up to the stars. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship, looking down to our beautiful, beautiful Earth. To the next generation of dreamers, if we can do this, just imagine what you can do. Hey!
500 feet above the runway. Over the threshold, main gear touchdown. And there is full stop.
All right. Very different kind of a space trip. Those of us, again, who grew up in the 60s, remember the original space race, you know, the big, tall rockets that blew up into the, well, I shouldn't say blew up, that went up into the sky and pushed a little capsule out to orbit the Earth or to go to the moon. Very different. This was much more of a plane-like device, and that took off connected to a plane, released from the plane, kind of flew up to the high point, and then came back down and actually landed like a plane again. So it's things are very different there. Biffy, would you want to go? I know we've tried this before. Would you want to go into space?
Yeah, I think I would.
Well, Branson says he's going to sell tickets for people who want to go, and there are a couple of millionaires who have already bought some tickets to go. But he's going to bring the price down for we, the average person, Biff. It will only be several hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well,
so you'll be able to afford that, right?
Yeah, if I hit the Powerball, then yeah, we'll be in good shape.
I think you and I might want to take advantage of the sweepstakes. Believe he's actually holding 2 seats on one of the next voyages to space for a sweepstakes winner, and it's a charity fundraising platform. They're giving away 2 tickets for one of their first commercial flights. The winner and a guest will be among the first everyday citizens to travel on board an aircraft. The entry period's open through August 31st and will support the nonprofit Space for Humanity program, which is basically a plan to send citizen astronauts of diverse backgrounds into space. So I think, you know, at the price he's talking about, Biffy, that may be the only way I'm going up is if I win a ticket.
Yeah, the sweepstakes might be the way to go for us.
Because I got news for you. If I had an extra couple of $100,000, I would like to go to space. I really would. I'd like to be able to look down, Biff, and see the Earth in its entirety. That concept, I think, is fascinating. And I think we'd all be better off if we could, but we all can't.
That's one of those things, I think, until you actually see it, you know, firsthand, you don't realize what they're talking about. Yeah, it's great that they go up and they can give us a picture, but I think it's one of those things you actually have to see in person for yourself.
I agree, but that's what I'd want to be able to look out the window and see the Earth below me as a single ball of beauty. It'd be wonderful. Let's shift to politics here for a real quick minute. Bernie Sanders says he wants to go into Trump world. I intend, as soon as I have 3 minutes, he said, to start going into Trump world and start talking to people. He says the Democratic elite doesn't always appreciate the need to talk to the other side. Now, I can't imagine Trumpies wanting to hear anything from Bernie Sanders. I get his point. It's kind of like the Joe Manchin thing. You know, we've got to reach out and try to touch the other side and work for understanding. I get that. I don't disagree with it. But I'm just not sure that there's anybody in Trump world who wants to hear from Bernie Sanders. But he says that if we're going to get around the conspiracy theories, the only way to do that is to make it personal. Speaking of conspiracy theories, CPAC was held this weekend, and CPAC attendees, that's the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC employees got a little card telling them how to reinstate Donald Trump as president. It basically is that the Republicans will take control of the House, then they will throw Nancy Pelosi out of the speakership, they'll make Donald Trump speaker, Trump will then start impeachment proceedings against Biden and Harris. Biden and Harris will be kicked out, and Trump will then become president because he's third in line as Speaker of the House. And they're believing that at CPAC. Unbelievable. Here's a quick look at some other political insights from our friends at ABC.
Here are your political insights from ABC News. The top government infectious disease specialist pushing back against claims that because their approval was for emergency use, the COVID vaccines are somehow unproven or unsafe. Dr. Anthony Fauci says the data on the 3 U.S.-approved vaccines is extensive.
You're talking about hundreds of millions of people who've been vaccinated, and in every country you go to, you see that the effectiveness and the safety of the vaccines are very high.
Dr. Fauci on ABC's This Week. Seems it's the unvaccinated making up the lion's share of new COVID cases. Arkansas is one southern state with lagging numbers. Governor Asa Hutchinson.
I'll be in 6 cities next week in Arkansas, simply talking about what are the concerns, what are the community ideas, and how we can do this better in terms of increasing that population and their vaccination rate.
The governor on ABC's This Week. And those are your political insights. Richard Cantu, ABC News.
Coming up next hour, we're going to talk about the Mountain Wood Overlook, fireworks in Wheeling, and we'll start off by taking a look at the opioid trial down in Huntington with Emily Allen from Mountain State Spotlight. ABC continues covering the world next here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 8 o'clock.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Host is cooking, record-breaking heat.
All right, if you heard me say Emily Allen at 8:10, she should call us.